A Lewis County law looks to allow a property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers. It was introduced yesterday during a County Finance and Rules Committee meeting. The law would allow volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers to receive a 10% property tax exemption. District 10 lawmaker and volunteer fire chief Jeff Nellenbeck says it's another tool for the county to help its active volunteers, honoree members, and the spouses of a deceased member.
It probably helps people downstate more than in this local area where the tax levy is much higher for the county portion. But it's one of the tools that we feel we should offer.
There is a public hearing on that law on November 7th. It will begin at 5 p.m.